Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. It's been a while, but today I'm going to be filming a 1 palette 3 looks review video. We're going to be focusing on the JUVIA'S Place the Warrior 2 palette. It is an all matte palette and you guys know me, I love my mattes, so I really wanted to play with this. The color story really just spoke to me as well. Even though I know it's sort of like a basic color story, I'm a basic girl anyway. I also have reviewed and done 3 looks on a couple of their other palettes. So the Nubian palette, the Zulu, and there was one more but I forgot the name. I'll leave all the videos in my description box if you would like to check them out. So this is the palette here. It is so beautiful. I love JUVIA'S packaging. I feel like it's very simple but very impactful. So this is the Warrior 2 palette. I believe it's their first all matte palette. I don't know if it's their only all matte palette. I'm not too familiar with all of their palettes, but that's what I read on the description of this palette. So here we have the 9 shadows. These pans are really big. It's the same size as their Zulu palette, for example, if you are familiar with that one. And this is $20 US, but I will say if you are shopping on JUVIA'S Place, just wait it out because they always have sales. They have just sales randomly, so I would say wait it out. They have it frequently as well. So it is $20 US for 9 shadows, but you definitely can get it for a cheaper price if you do just wait it out. If you guys have watched my other JUVIA'S Place reviews, then you know that I really love their shadows. I think they perform really well. They're quite affordable as well. And their mattes are one of my favorites. I really love to work with them. And I believe I was able to use all of the shadows within my 3 looks, so I know how they all work and it's pretty consistent throughout the entire palette. Everything blends out really well, super pigmented. There's not much kickback in the palette either. There's no fallout on the face. It is just a really beautiful, easy formulation to work with. I think the only shadow that I had a slight problem with is the matte black eyeshadow. The only issue I had with this is that it's hard to describe, but I feel like it fades away really quickly. And I noticed that with this eye look that I'm wearing today, I have it in my crease here and I feel like I need to keep going back in like 10 minutes later to build up that black shadow again because I feel like it keeps fading. So although it is a really nice matte black shadow, it's pigmented, it's really easy to blend, I feel like it does fade. I was really hopeful for this black though. I thought it was going to be my new matte black holy grail, but I think my next one still performs a little bit better than this, but nonetheless it still works. It's just I noticed that it does fade quite quickly on the eyes, but other than that everything just works so well and this color story is beautiful. I think this palette would be great for someone that is a working makeup artist just because the pans are really big and also that these shadows are just your basics. They are the standard for any eye look really. And although it's an all matte palette, I really had no issues creating 3 looks with this. Like I feel like I thrived because I just love matte shadows. I feel like they're just my comfort zone, so it was really easy to create a look with this, but you can use this in conjunction with your other palettes that has metallics and shimmers and glitters and all that good stuff. But I really do think this is a really great standard palette to have in a makeup kit. Even if you're not a working makeup artist, I think it's just a really good basic palette to have, and I think it's really nice that JUVIA has this in their line because it is just a really great standard palette. There is actually quite a few color stories you can do with this palette, so I'll give you a preview of my 3 looks. So the first look, the vibe is very coral and red, and the second look has more of the browns but with that orange gradient in there as well, so it's very warm. And then you have my eye look today, which I did use a lot of the black, so it's a little bit more smoky, sexy, grungy, and of course there's so many more variations you can do with this palette. So I really like how you do have, you know, the oranges and that this is like a pinky coral, and then you have the red. So you have that spectrum, but then you also have these like more mustardy, yellowy, warm shadows as well. So I feel like it does work really well. You have the matte white. Kinda is okay. I feel like maybe we could have had something a little bit different in here. I was a little bit concerned with the 2 sort of black shadows. They are slightly different. This one up here is more of like a gray black and this one is more of a pitch black. But nonetheless, I think at the end of it, there is a bit of variation and this shadow did come quite handy for the eye look that I did today. So overall, I think this is a really great palette. I had a lot of fun using this palette. It's a palette that I definitely see myself using a lot in the future, and I think it's just a really great standard basic palette to have. And I think if you're a beginner and you are wanting to try JUVIA'S place, you don't have a lot of palettes, then this one would be a really great one to have. But if you do have a larger collection, then obviously these types of shadows you probably already have in your collection, but I think it's a really great palette nonetheless. I quickly do just want to compare it to the Nubian palette. This was my first JUVIA'S Place palette, and as you can see, I did hit pan in one of the matte brown shadows, and I will say there is a slight comparison here, just a very small comparison with the matte shadows, but nothing too dramatic. If you have the Nubian and you wanted the Warrior too, I would say go for it. I don't think there's too much of a crossover. I think this would be a really great companion palette to the Warrior palette. That is just my quick thoughts on the Warrior 2 palette from JUVIA'S Place. With that being said, let's just go ahead and hop into the 3 looks. Alright, so to get started with the first look, I'm going to start off with the shade Dara, and this is going to be our transition shadow slash base color. So I'm just going to take that on a really big fluffy brush and just start using windshield wiping motions straight into my crease. We just want the shadow to get blown out all over our lid, up towards our brow bone and also towards the outer corners as well. So just go in with windshield wiping motions, work that in with circular motions, and you'll get this really gradual soft blend. I also take this onto my lower lash line as well. I'm just going to run that from the outer corner right to the inner corner, also just blowing out this shadow. And next I'm going to be taking the shade Jamata, and I'm going to start packing this one on at the outer corners of my eyes. Just pack this on to get the most pigmentation there first, and then we will start using circular motions, blending that up towards the crease area and more towards the middle of the eyes. But we do want most of this product just at the outer corner there, just to help darken out those outer edges. I also take this onto my lower lash line once again, but I'm only going to focus it at the outer third, just using stamping motions just to get that pressed on the lower lash. And then going into the shade Well Zana, I'm going to be taking a pencil brush and I'm going to be doing sort of the same thing. I'm just going to be deepening out the outer corners, but with my pencil brush I'm able to create sort of like a sideways V shape. I also take this onto my lower lash line as well, just with that pencil brush, just to get that diffused there as well. And now taking the shade Zaza, I'm going to place this at the inner third of my eyes. I'm going to take this on a very, very tiny brush and I'm going to sort of map out a half cut crease. But this is going to be a soft cut crease because we're just using a matte shadow. It's going to be very soft, but you definitely can sort of carve out very softly your crease area. So I just take that onto my lid first, and then I'll slowly follow the shape of my crease curve. And I feel like naturally as that white shadow builds up, you will get this soft cut crease effect. So now I'm just going to go in with my black liquid liner. I'm just going to use this to create my wing. I will go in with the matte black eyeshadow Shawata from the palette to help smudge and extend, sharpen that wing out. This is what I always do, so I'm really happy there's a really nice black in the palette. So this, you guys, is the first look completed. We have an all matte soft cut crease and I really like the turnout of it. I've done this technique a couple times, but it's definitely a technique that I want to do more because I feel like it's so soft and simple, but it definitely has that impact. So I really love how this look turned out. I really love the shadows together. So I really do hope you guys like this first look as well. Alright, so now onto the second look. I'm going to start off with the shade Zama, and this is going to be our transition shadow slash base color. So I'm just going to take that on a big fluffy brush and get that blended into my crease. I'm going to be using windshield wiping motions to get that shadow on, and then I'll slowly blend that up towards the brow bone and towards the outer corners. I also take this onto my lower lash line as well. I'm just going to diffuse the shadow all over the lower lash, connecting these shadows. And I am taking the shadow quite low just because the overall look is going to be quite intense and smoky and sultry. So just getting this orange shadow literally all over our eyes. Next, I'm going to take the shade Kufuru, and I'm going to start packing this shadow onto my lid space, and then I will slowly start blending that shadow up in towards my crease, but not overtaking the transition shadow. I'm just going to keep packing on till I get the intensity that I like, and then I will start blending. And I also take this shadow onto my lower lash line as well, but this time I'm going to be taking it on a defining brush, and I'm going to press that up against my waterline instead. So now I'm actually just going to take my black liquid liner, and I'm just going to create my outer wing. I will go in with the matte black eyeshadow in the palette Shawata, and I'm going to use this shadow to just help smudge out that wing. I also take a bit of that black and just like blend it into the lid shadow, so that way we have a really intense gradient. But for my bottom waterline, I'm just going to be taking the Artisy in Moisture eyeliner in the shade Coffee, and I'm going to use this to tightline my entire bottom waterline. Alright you guys, so this is the second look completed. I think this look is super dramatic, but it was so easy and simple to do. We literally only use 2 eyeshadows, and I really like the final outcome. You can't go wrong with a classic smoky eye, so I hope you guys like this second look as well. Alright, so now onto the final look. I'm going to start off with the shade Kana, and I'm going to take this on a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to work that into my crease using windshield wiping motions. I will take that onto my lid as well. This is really just going to be the base color for our eye look, and it's also going to help set in our eye primer. So now I'm going to go into the shade Walzana, and I'm going to take this on a very thin brush. The brush that I'm using is actually a paintbrush. But I'm gonna take this, and I know it's very scary to take pretty much a black shadow first off, but I'm going to take this around my crease line. So I'm going to try and match it to the other eye that I did off camera. This is, you know, a little harder for me, I feel, because my eyes are uneven, and today it's a little bit uneven, and I realized actually the curve of my eyes on both of my eyes is quite different. The eye that I'm showing you on right now, I feel like the curve is not as rounded, but my other eye is much more rounded. So I think there is a little bit unevenness at the final look, so I hope you guys can look past that. And next I'm going to take the shade Yodit, and I'm going to take this on a pencil brush, and I'm going to sort of use windshield wiping motions back and forth on that crease line that we created. This is just slowly going to build up a gradient effect because we want that crease line to be the darkest, and towards our brow bone it's going to get lighter and lighter. I'm then going to go into the shade Kufuru, and I'm going to take this on another pencil brush, but I'm going to focus this more at that crease line instead of blending it up so high into my brows. So this shadow is going to be that middle ground shadow, so it's going from a dark, medium to light, and this is sort of that medium tone. I'm just going to go back and forth my brushes and just build up the product, blend it out more, build it up again. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of my concealer on a very small detailed brush that is a little bit curved. This makes it a little bit easier to cut out the crease, and I'm just going to do a little cleanup. I'm just going to run that underneath that cut crease line, and this is just going to enhance that cut crease even more. And while I am cutting my crease out, I'm not going to set it down yet. I'm actually going to go in with my other brushes, you know, the one with the black shadow, with the medium tone, with the light tone, go back and forth and really build up that product once again. And once I'm happy with the definition of the cut crease, I'm gonna set in the concealer with the shade Kana, which was the first base shade that we did use. And once we are happy with the crease work, we're going to move on to the smoky liner. I'm going to take the shade Awal Zana. I'm going to start creating a dramatic wing with this shadow on an angled brush. But now I'm going to go into the shade Kufuru, that medium brown tone, and I'm just going to take that on the same pencil brush, and I'm just going to run this along my wing just to start smoking that out and start creating a gradient. It's very similar to what we did in the crease, how we're just going in dark, medium, light. And as you can guess, I'm gonna go in with the shade Yodit, and I'm going to work that a little bit above the previous shade, and we can slowly see we are getting that gradient. And to just really complete the look, I'm gonna take Shawata and I'm gonna just define that baseline of my wing, and this is just going to pull the look together. Also on my lower lash line, I'm taking that matte black shadow and I'm just going to sweep that onto my lower lash line. I'm making sure I am connecting the wing at the outer point so that way the whole look can look cohesive. And then I'm going to take a mixture of Kufuru and Yodit, and I'm going to take this on sort of a fluffier shader brush, and I'm going to just smudge out that black shadow again to have that smoky gradient. But alright you guys, this is the final look completed. This is a different technique for me personally. Although it might look like a normal half cut crease, I feel like this is more of a reverse half cut crease where we're focusing a lot of the product on the outside of the cut crease, not on the inside where the lid is. So I had a lot of fun creating this look. If anything, it's just a little uneven. Other than that, I really did enjoy this look and it was really fun for me to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this final look as well. And that, you guys, was my 3 looks using the JUVIA'S Place Warrior 2 palette. I would love to know which look out of the 3 was your favorite down below. I did like all of the looks, I really did, but I think look 1 would have to be my favorite. So let me know which look was your favorite down below in the comments. And also, if you guys did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it so much if you could. But that, you guys, is going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for watching as always. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!